God is more free. We may feel like we are the absolute governors of our lives, and at times we may feel like that's just the way it is, but the truth is that nothing happens save God allow it to happen, and whatever He allows, He has purpose for. We must understand this if we are to understand the connection between the will of God, the will of man and the sovereignty of God. This morning we opened our Bibles to Genesis 50 and 20, and I want to end there. I want to go back there. Just because I said it was the end, don't get too excited. I'm not quite finished. But I do want to go back there to wrap up our message. Genesis chapter 50 and verse 20. I read it this morning, but I didn't comment on it. All I said was that this is where Joseph is talking to his brothers who had sold him into slavery. And you remember how that began, right? Joseph was the favorite of his father. Isn't that great? I saw a dad this week talking to his child. He said, I know I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but right now, son, you're in third. He only had 3 kids. Anyway, Joseph had all these children, his father, Israel, Jacob. Jacob had all these children. And he said, I have one that's my favorite. That was a problem in the family because his father had done the same thing. His father and mother had chose favorites. She had chose him, Jacob, as the favorite, and the Esau was chosen by the father as the favorite, and there was a problem there, if you remember that story. So this was kind of a problem in the family, is choosing favorites among the children. And Jacob chose Joseph. You're my favorite, and what did he give him? A fancy coat, right? And then what added insult to injury? He went out and told his brothers, Brothers, I had a dream, and in my dream I was in the middle of a cornfield, and my stalk of corn was in the middle of the field, and all of your stalks bowed down and worshiped my stalk. Isn't that great? Yeah, they thought it was fantastic. Because that means he was going to be worshipped by his brothers, right? He said, I had a dream that you all worshipped me. Yeah, I had a brother too. I'm glad he never told me that. I was always bigger than him. So that's what happened. He was excited because he felt like he had a vision from God, but at the same time, his brothers hated his guts. And they go out to the field, leave him home with Dad. Dad needs to send a message to the brothers. What does he do? Go out and take a message to the brothers. So here he clippity-clops it on out there, and once he gets out there, they see him coming. And they said, when he gets here, we're going to kill him because we hate him. We'll take that fancy robe he's wearing, we'll dip it in some blood, and we'll tell the father that he got attacked by an animal. Well, they ended up not killing him. One of the brothers, Reuben, had a little bit of a problem with the situation. Stuck up for him. They threw him in a well instead. They see some slave traders going by. And they said, we'll just sell him into slavery. Dad will never know. We'll tell Daddy died, dip his garment in blood of an animal. Dad will never know. Think he's dead. He'll be in slavery. He'll die in slavery. No one will ever know. Perfect crime. Right? Perfect crime. Joseph goes off. He stays at Potiphar's house for a while. He gets to be blessed in Potiphar's house until such time as Potiphar's wife finds him somewhat attractive, tries to have a relationship with him. He runs away. She maintains his jacket. Second time the jacket got him in trouble because she maintains his jacket and says he was in my room and tried to rape me. So, of course, Potiphar's going to believe the woman with the jacket versus the man who was running away half naked. Right? So he goes to jail. What happens in jail? He gets to be head over the jail. Not only was he the head over the slaves in Potiphar's house, now he's the head over the jail. Because everywhere he goes, God is blessing him wherever he goes because God's getting him ready. Because God had a plan for Joseph all the way back when he was getting his dream coat. Right? God had a plan all the way through. And God was orchestrating the events all the way through until such time as Joseph ended up being what? The second to Pharaoh, riding in Pharaoh's chariot behind Pharaoh, to where all of Egypt had to bow down to him, and his brothers, there came a famine, his brothers had to come to him asking for food on their knees, exactly as his dream so many years before had said. Here he stands as the one to be worshipped, and his brothers are all bowing down at his feet. Then they go back home, get Dad, bring Dad to see him. Dad stays there, and after a period of time, he dies. What happens to the brothers after he dies? Scared to death, because now they think he's going to bring his retribution. Now, Dad's out of the picture. He's going to kill us all. Genesis 50:20, where we started this morning. Or let's start in verse 18. His brothers came and fell down before him and said, "Behold, we are your servants." But Joseph said to him, "Do not fear, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it." Same Hebrew word. What they meant as evil, God took the same thing and meant it for good. God doesn't allow anything that He doesn't have a purpose for. God meant it for good to save this day many people alive. Note He did not say, "You're not guilty." Note He didn't say you didn't do anything wrong. But what He said is this: even though you are guilty, even though you are a sinner, even though you did mean it for evil, God is more free than you are, and He is sovereign and you're not, and God meant it for good. The same thing can be translated to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. What those men meant for evil, God meant for good, so that on that day, on that cross 2,000 years ago, Jesus could save us alive. And that event, the Bible tells us, was orchestrated before the foundation of the world. God is sovereign. Let us bow our heads. Close our eyes.